Hey YouTube, this is the third video. Actually, I got kicked out of Clubhouse because they wanted me to go make more videos. I had an errand to run, so I didn't mind, but I thought it was pretty funny that the folks I was chatting with on Clubhouse a few minutes ago told me to go get back in my car and make more videos. Anyway, this drive is a Costco run. Hopefully it won't be too long, but I don't know, it feels like everybody wants video today, so I'm just gonna let it run. This is my unprotected left here. I'm gonna let you guys see it. Don't go without looking. Okay, it was clear, but man, it could not see. It's going for it on these turns. There was no way that it knew it was clear, but it went for it. Here we go again. Interesting. So this is actually going to be a drive that goes from FSD to highway and then back to FSD. So it's going to have a little bit of that merge scenario in there that I've been curious to see how vision-only FSD switches to navigate on autopilot on a car with radar installed. I don't know if I'm going to have any indication. Emergency vehicle over there, just mapped as a semi. Anyway, we'll see what it looks like. There's a few questions I have about lights. So while we're just doing this, I'm going to go back to this right here. So the exterior lights, I can definitely turn that off and on even though I am engaged. So I'm not exactly sure how to know if my car is using vision other than yellow light. Looks like it's going for it. Did it turn red? Never turned red. So if anybody out there has any sort of way I can look with an indication or a sensor, a switch that, in vision-only cars indicates you're using a vision-only code, that would be interesting to know. So I'm going to make a point here on some of the cars, and you can look for this on the video. Brake lights are showing up on cars that they were not before. That's definitely a new change. Not sure if it's using brake light information as an indication of slowing. It would seem logical that they would take that information into account, though. I'm going to try the nag one more time too here. Checking, I'm looking straight ahead, so the camera should know that I'm paying attention, but the nag still has been appearing, so we'll just do another run of that after about 10 or 15 seconds usually. And there it is. Got the apply force the steering wheel. So it still needs the tension on the steering wheel, even though the attention monitoring apparently is a part of this build. So I've got an upcoming lane change indication up here. So we should see the vector decide it wants to go in a lane, and let's see if it uses a good turn signal when it does it. We don't need to change lanes for a while, so I'm not exactly sure why it's indicating that at this point. Brake lights, you see it? Simultaneous with the car in front braking. Brake lights on the car that's not the lead car too. So, and they're very bright. I wonder if there's a difference in bright and tail lights. That'll be something to watch. Those brake lights on those cars are not visible. It's interesting it's staying in this lane behind this car. It feels like in Beta 8, it was pretty aggressive to go around slower cars. I'm not feeling that behavior right now, so it seems to be a little bit happier in a lane, even though it's going below its set max, which is fine. This middle lane is where I'd normally want to be anyway right now. Changed yellow just above us. Sometimes this light changes yellow at the same time, but it doesn't look like it's going to do it right now. traction back there. It changed speeds. I didn't feel any sort of acceleration or deceleration, probably mostly because I'm following this car. Actually, wait a minute. Distance is another thing. I can set the distance as high as 7 and as low as 2. That might be another vision indicator right there. So right now I have it set to 2. Let me back it up to 5 and see if it backs up a little bit. Go to the maximum. I don't feel like it's backing up to 7 car lengths yet. Maybe, yeah, it's putting a little distance in there for sure now. But it did it nice and gentle. Changing lanes to follow route. Okay, vector went over, used the blinker. That was pretty smooth. All right, I'm going to set the car distance back to 5. Maybe 4. Okay, so as you can see in this map here, I'm getting on an interstate. So FSD and the transition to navigate on autopilot previously was a handoff to navigate on autopilot. I don't know if it's handing vision over to radar or what. Looking just for a little bit different behavior or seeing how it handles it. Merging over, it should. Nice and smooth, did that well. Should be taking this exit, looks like it's going to. Slow down, nice, for a nice ramp speed. That feels good. All right. And looks like the left lane is nice and clear behind me if it wants to get into the next lane. And it switched over to navigate on autopilot as it did before, but I have no way of knowing if this is using vision. I can come over here, I can go down to 2 car lengths and as high as 7, so it's identical. I can't go down to 1 car length any longer. And now I'm back onto this ramp, so it was a short navigate on autopilot, but you did see the visualization change. None of the distance changed. Interesting. Well, maybe we'll figure it out over time whether or not I'm using my radar when I'm in navigate on autopilot or if I'm using vision only. That is part of FSD Beta City Streets, because they still are different modes. And the same goes along with Smart Summon. I don't think Smart Summon has changed, but I have no reason to know why. I know if you have a Model 3 or a Model Y and you subscribe to FSD, Smart Summon is using vision only. You'd almost have to do a side-by-side comparison of the performance of Smart Summon. And that is on my list of tests to do. Somebody will probably get to it before me though. And this is, while it looks like a highway, it's actually maybe there's a good view of it. It's kind of this off-side ramp to the interstate over there to the left. But we got some serious traffic merging here. Let's see how it handles these cars wanting to get over. It's not okay. Now it's going to let him get over. It looks like he doesn't even have his blinker on. I've got my blinker on. It handled that pretty nice. That was a pretty tight merge. So that was a merge in heavy traffic, I'd say, and medium traffic with FSD Beta Pure Vision. It was almost a weave. I needed to get right, they needed to get left. It figured its spot, slowed down, and then got over. I don't know why it just went to navigate on autopilot for that smidge there. That's obviously a mapping error. All right, so now I've got to, okay, it just turned yellow, so it's going to stop. With a bunch of barrels and cones being mapped up there, and some good car visualizations here of these cars waiting over here. So I'm gonna say I was pretty impressed with that weave. You know, if you were to ask me to compare that to version 8, I think it was better, but I don't know how to say why other than it worked. And version 8 sometimes worked and sometimes didn't, but it felt smoother. So much of this is subjective. It's just going to take time and success over time to really prove anything, I think. But we'll get there. The data will be collected. I'll post as many of these as I have time to post and let you guys that watch and make comments be the judge. Interesting, this truck right next to me. Oh, I just saw brake lights. I was going to say his brake lights are on. You can't see him in the video, but his brake lights are on at this light. And I saw a flicker of brake lights for a second, but now they're not there. Oh, there they are again. Interesting. All right, so here we've got a turn, and I've got a line it can follow as long as it honors it. Wow, it did that really good. That was better than version 8 for sure. Those turns with those dotted lines were always a little iffy. It jumped over into this turn lane. That was solid. All right, so check this out. I've got some stoplights that are being installed, some stoplights that are being controlling, and it's got a whole bunch of things up here to look at. It looks like it knows I've got a protected left turn here, because that, if you can't see it, and it's got the arrow, and here we go, and it turned, it knows it's good. Okay, I've got a dotted yellow line to follow. It stayed in its lane. There's nobody to the right of me. All right, it wanted me to get over there. I do have a car to the right, so I disengaged there for a second so I can get out of this. I'm not disappointed with that. Actually, I was more impressed with the way it handled that turn coming out of the intersection there than anything else. That was really good. All right, I'll do my Costco run here in a little bit, and I'll get the video going on the backside. All right, here we go. It's kind of got some construction here. It's got a a red arrow here, which means it's a right turn lane only. It does not say no right on red, so it could go, but it's also asking me use accelerator or gear stalk to continue. The traffic's coming pretty hard from the left, so I'm not going to do that yet. But quite a big visualization here with traffic. The vector sure is jumping around a lot when it definitely needs to go to the right. I'm going to go ahead and tap the accelerator to see if it goes to a creep. All right, I tapped it. Now it says waiting for our turn. Now it's creeping. Now it's got a green arrow. It should go. All right, it needed to turn right there. I don't know where it was going. And I'll re-engage it here. So that disengagement was a construction. Could have been a mapping scenario, getting up and on this on-ramp. I'm not sure how to interpret that. In any case, so here we are now. So we're kind of on an on-ramp to kind of join a highway. So this FSD mode should change back to navigate an autopilot at some point. See if it uses a blinker appropriately to get out of this exit-only lane. Blinkers on. All right, it did that fine. There's one scenario that happens frequently to everybody, navigate on autopilot or full self-driving. And there's a scenario coming up here, we'll see if it develops, where you're in a lane that turns into a merge, and previously, and we'll find out now if it's changed, the car treats the entire merge lane as its lane and doesn't kind of yield to the cars to the left. We'll see what happens here. This is the scenario where this right lane is merging in, so it's kind of the opposite of this one. You can see it's honoring this white line. Yeah, I think it mapped it correctly. I was in the lane that didn't need to merge here. Now here you can see this lane is disappearing, and now it's visualizing it. It's staying to the left. It's holding pretty tight here. Sometimes it treats that whole space as its own. All right, it slowly crept over there as the lane narrowed. I would say that's an improved behavior. So now here's the merge I was talking about again. So we're back to navigate on autopilot, and it's going to change the lane rather than wait on the merge. So we didn't really get to see it here. So this is where the lane merges. But it used a blinker ahead of time and jumped over, which is actually even better than waiting on the merge. And here, navigate on autopilot, kind of went to the lane centering as that lane doubled up. I'm not sure whether we're using radar, vision, or anything different here. I don't have any reason to think it's using vision only yet. All right, we're jumping off the highway here. It should jump back to the FSD visualization. It did, right there. And it should be hugging left at this fork. Just fine. Aggressively slowing down here to 25 miles an hour max. I didn't see why. Got a green arrow, so it's a roll protected with no dotted line and a car right next to me. Oh, just my friction, I think, ignored. I think it was going to do that. I had friction on the steering wheel and it disengaged it. I think it was doing it fine. Having that car right there gave it something to avoid, but at the same time it gave it something to hit. But it looked like it was doing it just as it needed to. Brake lights on all of these cars. That was interesting. That car jumped over 3 lanes and it braked appropriately, and I'll say re-accelerated appropriately for that. So that car kind of became a hazard and then got out of the way, and it continued. That has definitely been one of the use cases I'm looking for here, is how it re-accelerates after it runs into an obstruction of some sort. Version 8.2, it just was painfully slow how it re-accelerated after the obstruction was clear. All right, we're kind of camping out in the left lane here. There's nobody behind me to nudge me over. Not sure if it has a preference for staying in the left lane or not, but so far that's what it's doing. That was a pretty straightforward behavior back there. No changes. We've got a few more interactions here with some stoplights coming up, and it's slowing way down for something. It's getting out. I don't know whether to call that phantom braking or a slowdown for that signal, and it's getting all the way over. So we do need to take a right turn in 3 miles, but all of a sudden it decided to get from the far left lane that I was complaining about into the far right lane, and a very aggressive yellow light stop there. Nice. That was good. That was a good decision. We've seen it go through a few yellows already on FSD9. That was a good aggressive stop for a yellow turning to red with time to stop. So look here, we got quite a visualization here coming at this intersection for everybody to see. speed limit sign adjustment. Here's a dotted bike lane. For those of you that are familiar how bike lanes are mapped, where this bike lane is kind of highway side of an access road. Looks like it's just mapping the white lines. Okay, the bike lane is starting up again here. Let's see if there's a visualization for the bike. Oop, there was. I saw it. See if there's another bike visualization. Yep, there it went. Alright, so here it had to slow down for an oncoming car. That felt natural. I think I would have done it the same way. And we're definitely being forced to go slower than our max speed while staying in this lane. It's not trying to aggressively go around. Oh, there it did. It just said changing lanes into faster lane. A little bit of braking there. That was a good scenario there. So it did eventually go around the traffic as it was getting slow, and then that car ended up turning. That was a good decision. Truck and a trailer visualization. Looks like it's just mapping it as one big truck right now. Kind of a box truck, kind of an icon there. I would say it's not jittering though, like it used to. You know, we've been wondering if it was going to be better. I don't know if in this production build they're smoothing what we were seeing. It's very jittery boxes in the beta build. Yeah, I'm very comfortable with the way this is handling some of the things that we've been talking about. I mean, obviously there are some things that still needs to work on, but generally it feels smoother, and a few of the other beta testers have said that also. The acceleration, deceleration, changing lanes, identical with the blinker. That's good. That blinker was almost random before. So now we're back in the right lane. We're 0.3 miles to the turn. Let's see how it decides to decelerate, because I'm on a 50-mile-an-hour road going 57, and you know it's got to slow down to turning speed. Slow down to 45, speed limit sign, adjusted that. See when it puts the blinker on. It's slowing. I'd put the blinker on right about now, and wow, that was pretty good. And a nice smooth turn. Kind of crossed the yellow line a little bit, but that felt really good. I don't think I'd complain about that. I would say much smoother than 8.2 for that off-highway turn. Okay, there we are, Costco running back. We had a little bit of migration between Nav Autopilot. I don't have any conclusions on whether or not it was switching to vision only, navigate and autopilot. We'll have to keep doing some tests there. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you got any comments, please leave them below. I appreciate your support.